long bread.
Hi and welcome to the Vastrap Kitchen. We are going to show you how to make sourdough baguettes today. Here we go. We're going to show you what the long bread looks like inside. It's got lots of nice holes. And there it is.
Hey, Mom.
Yes, there too. Okay, so watch our video and we'll reveal all our secrets. This dough has been in the fridge overnight. You can see it's got some nice bubbles on it. It's nice and shiny. I'm going to make it into a rectangle, and I now need to divide it into 8 equal pieces. So it's about 250 grams each. Over here. So now that I've divided the dough, I'm going to pre-shape them into things to rest. This is called a couche. This one comes from Ile de Pan. It's just a nice piece of heavy canvas cloth, which is well floured so that the dough doesn't stick to it. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my surface. I'm not using that much because the dough is still cold, so it's not that sticky. Okay, pull it out on both ends, fold the one end halfway in, the other end over, roll down the top, and then roll it up all the way so that it looks like a nice little pain au chocolat. Okay, pull it out. Fold in 1/3 over again. Use your scraper if it gets stuck. Folding the top over, and then the bottom, just rolling it up. Folding my seam in the bottom. Push. Divide it. Place it there, seam side up. Some more flour over. Make sure they don't stick, just so that they don't dry out too much. And now they're going to rest here for about 30 minutes. Now for the very hard part of making baguettes, the final shape. Push this ready. Make sure it's well floured. So it's a careful balance between not having enough flour and having too much flour. Bear in mind, I'm not a professional baker, so each one is not perfect, but I find they're good enough for my home. And practice makes perfect. So I'm just going to gently flatten it. Okay, from the top, fold down and push it away. Trying to create tension. Okay, fold it in, down again, push it away, down again, push it away, push it away. Now there's nice tension. Now I'm going to just close it here with the back of my hand. Lift the seam up. And now I'm going to roll it. I find rolling it is the hardest part. Rolling it evenly. And you want it to be roughly the width of your couche. Okay. And you're going to fold it for the next one. Patting it down. Turn it round. Hold it in slightly. In again. In again. Use the back of your hand to seal the seam. Make sure the seam is sealed. And roll it out, making points. Okay. We're going to do the baking of the baguettes now, which the logistics of which are quite tricky. So you need to have everything really organized before we bake. I preheat my oven about an hour before I'm ready to bake to the highest setting, which is 260 on my oven. And although I preheat it on fan, I put it onto convection before I bake. I do not want the fan on when I'm baking these baguettes, because the fan hardens the crust and prevents it from getting a nice open bloom. I've done many tests, and certainly in my oven, having the fan on just doesn't work for bread baking. I have to boil the kettle, because one of the key things for the nice opening of the baguettes is to have enough steam in your oven. The baguettes you can't bake in a Dutch oven, so you're going to have to make steam in your oven. You either have a baking tray with water in the bottom of your oven, or get a whole lot of tins and put boiling water in them and line them in the bottom of your oven. I have a wonderful metal plate in my oven that I had made because I make baguettes a lot. And I have this thing called the T-bar, which comes from Ile de Pan in Neisner. It's great. It stays in the bottom of my oven. And I just put boiling water in there when I'm ready to bake. So to transfer your loaves from the couche into the oven takes quite a bit of practice. Have a board or just a regular chopping board that's the same length as the baguettes handy, because you're going to have to take them from the couche onto your baking paper so that you can transfer them into the oven. If you don't have a steel plate in your oven, you can preheat trays like this. Okay, so my baguettes have been proving for about an hour and a half. They have expanded in size. If I press them, the indent comes back quite slowly, so I would say they're ready to go. So I need to transfer the baguettes from the couche, where they seam side up, onto my transfer boards and my baking paper, seam side down. So I'm going to take my little board that I've floured well, and I've got my little scraper thingy, and I'm going to use the couche. I use this little scraper if I just see that it's sticking a little bit, just to gently loosen it. And I'm going to roll it over using the fabric. It's sticking a bit. I didn't flour this couche enough. I thought it was well seasoned, but they're sticking a bit. Anyway, I just very gently, I don't want to deflate them at this point, very gently just use my scraper to get them off, and then I just put them onto my board. There's another one.
Cat.
Put it on the board.
Long cat. Long cat.
And you can use your little scraper just to straighten them out if they
Long cat.
look a bit wonky, because you don't really want a wonky baguette. Right, so I've got my baguettes on my, they're now on my baking paper, so they'll be easy to kind of slide into the oven. The oven's hot and ready, the water's ready. Now I just need to score them. So to score them, I hold the sharp knife or the lame at about 45 degree angle, and I'm going to make 3 kind of slashes down the middle of the baguette. You can just do 1 slash if you want to. It's not an exact science, and I'm certainly not an expert, but this works for me. So I'll start on this side and just do it very quickly. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your blade is sharp. They kind of overlap a little bit. So I'm ready to transfer my baguettes into the oven. See, they're on a movable thing. I could have them on a pizza peel or on another type of board, but they are on baking paper. So first, before I do anything, I'm going to make steam in my oven. I already have a tin with hot water in the oven, but I'm going to put boiling water into the tray or the T-bar that I've got in the oven just to get that steam going. I'm going to put more in when I'm finished. Okay, so I'm going to take these and just slide them in. Okay, I'm going to take these and slide them in. That. And just add more steam. Okay, now I'm going to turn the oven down to 245 for 15 minutes. And then I'll turn it down to 200 degrees for a further 10 minutes.